Welcome back to Project Beamers. This video is going to be in the trunk. We're going to start off in the trunk anyway. It's not going to just stay in the trunk. I'm doing some sound dampening in this car. I'm experiencing some rattling from this little guy, believe it or not, a JL 8W7. I'm in the process of building a proper enclosure for him as well. Still working on the interior here, so the audio is going to be last pretty much, but I'm almost done, so I'm getting to some of the audio. So for my sound dampening, I'm pretty much going to put these sheets, cut them up, foil backed sheets. Got butyl on the back of them. You don't know what this is. Eliminates noise, vibration, damping material. Just cut it into shape, roll it on. Sometimes you could use a heat gun to help you with this process, but where I live it's not cold at all, so that's really if it gets cold where you live. This material goes on the bare metal. Well, that's where I'm putting it anyway, for starters. So what I'm gonna have to start off doing in here is getting everything out of the trunk, getting all the paneling off, getting this off, taking out my amps and stuff like that, taking out the sub, pretty much taking everything out till I get to the bare metal, and then that will be where I can start cleaning off and doing all my prep work. I'll walk you guys through all of that as well. It's going to be a little process. This is not a 1, 2, 3 thing, but it's definitely something that the rewards, like I say, most things that are not so simple when it comes to project work do have some great rewards at the end. So the sound is going to be a lot better in this car, and I'm going for an overall clean sound. There's a light that's on right there when you open up the trunk. I suggest when you're doing this job, one of the first things that you do is take that bulb out, so you don't kill your battery. Right here, turn this, and that's going to release the headlight housing. And then this light, little light, is right here. So you just turn that, take it out, and then you can take that bulb out. That way you don't have to worry about that light killing your battery. Depending on how long this job's going to be, the trunk might be open for a while. So I'll take that out and I'll start getting this trunk taken apart, and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. I got everything for the most part out of the trunk. If you see that green color there, that's the original color of the car, Boston green. So one of these days I'm going to get around to painting that black. That's going to be part of my project. This side quarter panel here, I took that off on the other side just so that you can see what's behind there. Looks to me to be like maybe a factory amplifier or something. I know there's a factory antenna up here. These are pieces that if you wanted to, you could delete these pieces if you were in my situation, because I'm already running full audio on my own. I got my own amplifiers, I got my own head unit, and I'm running active setup, so I don't need anything from the factory at all. I probably won't delete any of that because it's not bothering me. I'm not racing the car, so I'm not worried about weight or anything like that. But that being said, in that area there may be no reason for me to be dynamating back there per se. Okay, maybe I want to throw a piece or two on this, maybe. Quite possibly I'm going to take this foam off from here and then see what's behind there and put some dynamite on that. Same thing on the other side. Here on this bottom panel, you hear the differences in that sound. That's to show you that those areas will be prime areas that will be ended up rattling once my base starts hitting, so I want to throw some Dynamat on there. The factory tried to put some pieces, as you can see that? They already tried to put some pieces, but I'm gonna just put some more pieces on there. And that's pretty much the job here. I'm also going to take these side panels off. I took this one off here, and then those panels there, I'm gonna get some Dynamat in there, just as much coverage as I can, specifically up here, this lid. Hear that tinny sound? Want to get rid of that. The first thing I got to do now is clean all of that. That's the number one thing. When you're going to put any kind of sound damping material, you want to clean the surface so that it would adhere properly. Just like with anything else, surface preparation is key. The better you do that, the better end result you're going to get. So if I don't clean this, my Dynamat's not going to stick. I live in an environment where it's pretty hot. It's going to end up just peeling off, and it's going to take away from the result that I want, and it's just going to be a waste of my time. So for the most part, cleaning is the next step. Once I clean all that out, I can start cutting out some pieces and then rolling it on. That part is not hard at all. It's just getting to where you're going to put the Dynamat. That's the hard part, and then putting everything back together. Okay, so let me get to that, and I'll be right back in the next steps. All right, we're back in the trunk with the sound dampening process. So for the most part, I got everything out that I needed, and I cleaned it off. And as far as what type of sound damping material you can use, or sound mat, whatever you call it, to me it really doesn't matter. There's so many different brands. The brand that I'm using right now is called Roadkill, by a company called Stinger. The most famous brand that I can think of is Dynamat. There's also Noiko and Fat Mat. Man, there's a whole bunch of different ones, but the main idea is supposed to reduce vibrations and sounds that come out of your trunk from rattling. Usually when you have like a subwoofer in here, a lot of these things can rattle. Believe it or not, even the wires, you hear all that. Like if you have anything, so if you see any wires that are loose, even tying them up, just this is a sound treatment process. So it doesn't only include putting this material on metal, but it does include that. So for the part that I'm up to, all I'm doing, just to show you, is taking a razor or a knife, just some type of a sharp edge, and cutting pieces of this material. There's no rhyme or reason to it. You don't have to get 100% coverage. I want to get just some pretty exposed areas that are fairly thin metal, like maybe this. Probably get a sheet of Dynamat on this. You see how I even call it Dynamat, even though it's not, it's Roadkill, but you know, that's just how popular it is. So if I get a piece on this, it'll reduce maybe the rattling that would come from there. Same thing on this side. See the difference in the sound from that? This has like sound damping material from factory on it. So I want to kind of get some on there. Maybe some on the wheel well. There could be some vibrations coming in from the wheel, so I want to get some on there. As far as on this area here, there's a rule, like the 25% rule, so you don't have to cover this whole complete panel here. Just maybe like how the factory did it, like a sheet here. Maybe I'll put a sheet over here, and since they put one there, maybe I'll put a little bit here in some of the exposed areas to reduce a little more of the vibration. When I'm driving, I believe that I heard the most of the rattling from the hatch area, from up here. So that's real tinny. So I'm definitely gonna put some pieces maybe on the back side of this and on here. So I'm just gonna clean this off because I didn't get to do that yet. Clean this off, and then maybe just start putting some pieces There, you see these little holes here? These are where the factory trim goes back. So when you're doing your Dynamat, you don't want to go past these. Like, you don't want to come all the way out to here, because then you're gonna see the foil where you should be seeing paint. This foil stuff should be behind the panels. You shouldn't really see it. So keep that in mind when you're applying it. I'm gonna cut a few more sheets off now from here, and then start laying it out on this area, and then I'll come back to you. All right, believe it or not, that's pretty much about all I'm doing on this side, because for the most part there's a piece of foam that goes on top of this that helps with some of the sound damping. So this is pretty much, I just wanted to get something on the panels to reduce some of the rattling. So I took off that speaker pod that was there, and then when I'm putting this piece on, I just want to be mindful that I don't cover up any of the holes, the mounting holes, where that thing goes back, right? That goes on those holes. So I didn't want to put any soundproof material on top of those, then I wouldn't be able to put anything back where it goes. So be mindful of that when you're putting these sheets on, where you're putting it. Does something go on under it? Is there a hole that you need to poke through? And then make sure that when you put anything back, that everything goes back. Perfect example, these grounds right here, right? I disassembled this just so that I could put something else there. So I took these grounds off, and then I forgot to put them back. Start the car, and the car won't start. So whatever that is, maybe something connected to a fuel pump, or a relay of some sort, or something connected to something that has to do with the car starting, even though it doesn't look like it is. It looks very insignificant, but it has something to do with something very important. So with that being said, be careful whenever you're working on your car. Anything that was plugged in that you unplugged for your job, just be sure to plug it back in. Okay, now as I mentioned before, you see how the original Boston green color of the car is going to be on all of the interior panels. I already have Dynamat on it, so if I wanted to paint it, I could have done it before, or I could even do it after. It doesn't matter. If I ever want to do that, I can still do it. If you notice how the factory has some sound damp sheets here, and they painted right over it. I'm pretty sure that it wasn't green when they started, but they painted on top of it, so I could paint on top of that if I want. So now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get a couple more strips. You see how like I got one strip here? I'm going to get like a couple more strips on this side. I'm going to do this side, and then I'm going to start getting on top of that trunk lid, and then also on that paneling that's over there. Right, once I get to that paneling over there, I have to do the front door panel. The door panel is already off, so I'm going to come in here and put some sheets in here just to reduce some of the rattling. Like, this door is really noisy, so I'm guessing that some of this stuff rattles. Like, you hear this, all this stuff that's loose, I got to deal with that. So the sound treatment is gonna handle all of those little issues, so that this can start sounding like a Beamer again, not like some old janky car, right? So if you have any of those issues, this would help you figure those out. There's not a lot of stuff that you could really do for some cars because they're just inherently loud for whatever reason, but sound damping does help. There's different types of material that you can use. There's like some foam back material just for different purposes. In the description, I'll put a link to some sites that you could check for sound damping treatment material, and maybe you can look into that for your projects. All right, so let me get back to work on this, and I'll be back in a sec. All right, that's pretty much it, man. You don't got to go crazy. Like, I see some people, when they do this process, they try to cover every single inch of the car, and I mean, it is what it is. You want to waste all your money on your product and use it everywhere in the car. That's up to you. But when it comes to sound, you don't have to put a whole mat on the metal piece. You see what I'm saying here? Like, let's check out what you see right there. I'm not sure if you can see that little black piece right there. Just one piece of black, and that was from factory. The factory decided to put one piece here and one piece there for this whole mat. And then like a piece here, a piece there. The reason why they do that is because that's really all you need. You're just trying to reduce vibration in a panel. So you don't have to cover the whole panel, just like a quarter percentage of the panel, 25% to 30% of the whole panel in coverage will reduce the vibration on the entire panel. So that's just a little tip. Save some of your money, just buy a box of this. A box is enough pretty much for a whole car if you're doing sparingly. So I'm done with the trunk. With those pieces there, that's going to eliminate some of the rattle coming in from this wheel well right around the strut area. This was a pretty thin panel, so I deadened it a little bit. Same thing on the other side, and then plus when I put this back on, this is a foam, very thick foam, so that would reduce some of the noise as well. When I put these pieces up here, the actual plastic panel that goes on top of this, behind that, I could put some foam mat on that as well so that it could reduce some of the vibration. So that's the purpose of this sound treatment here. My next step is I'm going to go into that area because it's pretty hollow back there, and I'm going to sound treat there. Same thing on the other side here. I got to remove that panel, sound treat in there, and then I'm going to work my way up into the vehicle. Okay, so now for the rest of the sound damping, I want to damp this panel right here. It sounds teeny as hell. So I took it off, had some little bolts all around there, all around those little bolts that are in there. So I took it off. If you can see inside of there, it's like a decent amount of space. There's like a big ass cavity in there. You could just see a lot of. They put a little sound damping panel here from factory. So I'm gonna get some on the back of this. Make sure you clean it first. That's why I got my wipes. Make sure you clean that first, and then put like a sheet on there, and then just put it back. Simple. It's not like a crazy job. It's not like I gotta go in here and do a big old ridiculous job. It might seem insignificant to do, you know, take this whole panel off just to put like one piece on there, but believe it or not, that'll help. I just want to eliminate some of the sounds that this car has when I'm hitting bumps and when I'm driving around, especially with the added bass that I'm putting in there. So this is what I have to do. This is one of the little stupid parts of the project work, but once it's done, the benefit will be there. There's some exposed area in that door where I could, you know, treat a little bit, like on the behind part of that panel right there, right behind there. I can put some mat in there along the underside of that, along inside of this piece right there. Yeah, I can treat that door a bit, and I'll get some of the sounds out of there. These doors make a lot of noise. They're just rattly, sound real janky, so I'm gonna fix that. All right, so pretty much I'm done with the trunk. I did some of the matting. I actually got into that area as well, and I got the door. I also got up here, so everything is pretty much done and put back together. And the bonus of the track here is what I did. I also painted the carpet, and I got a little bit of yellow. That used to be gray, so this is gonna go perfect with the theme of the car. So this is part of the project. See, got that done, and that's done. Just a little bit of yellow paint, and then I still have the covering to put back here. I'm gonna paint that so that looks brand new. See how that's all scuffed up? I'm gonna paint that. It'll be perfectly new. I just noticed how that doesn't look so good now with everything else looking perfect. So I'm gonna actually paint that, and this goes under here, so I'm gonna make sure I put that in there where it belongs and get all that nice and clean. So yeah, it's looking good in here, man. Project is coming along real nice. So see what that little finishing touches do. That's nice and custom. I'm gonna put my audio back in here and then get the project moving along. Please comment, subscribe to the channel if you like what's going on with the car. I have a lot more stuff going on. Plus I got my E39 I'm gonna start working on, and my E38. So I'll see you guys soon, man. Thanks for watching.